Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Saturday Morning Coffee, the Saturday Morning Gamers podcast. My name is Jesse, and today I'm joined by Mr. Scott Dog Gaming.
Hello.
And Jordan from True Friends Gaming.
How's it going, guys?
I mean, I'm doing pretty good. Scott, how are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Thanks for asking.
Good. Yeah. That's what I like to hear. So, this episode of our podcast is going to be a little something different. We're trying to kind of reformat what we're going for and kind of trying to figure that all out. And I thought, Scott thought it would be best that we maybe part the veil a little bit, open the curtains, and let you guys kind of get a look into how we do that and maybe help form the eventual final production of Saturday Morning Coffee. So where should we begin, gentlemen? Jordan, why don't you tell us a little bit about, what we're kind of going for with this podcast?
Well, I mean, I guess ultimately that would be your decision as the host, but I guess for the most part, we're a group of 16, 17, 20, however many people now.
38.
Pretty much that all, we hang out, play games together and everything. And we find a bunch of random crap to talk about. There's a lot of stuff going on. And, everybody's got their views on it, so we might as well get ours out there as well for anybody that could be interested. There's important topics. There's our stupid thoughts, our extremely biased opinions, anything else. But I guess just a time to sit down and hang out with you guys.
I think that's right. I think between playing games, there's an awful lot of conversations that happen, and I see this maybe as an extension of those conversations that we don't record, we don't put out on YouTube, we don't say anywhere else, and they all stay, I guess, in-house is the word I'll use. But I think some of those conversations are really either A, interesting, or B, hilarious.
They're never both at the same time, though, which is weird.
No, it's a bit weird, isn't it? But if we can get some of that stuff, some of that stuff is captured in a podcast, and hopefully it just brings a little bit of entertainment and a little bit more of an insight. Because when we record our videos, they are exactly that. They're content that we want to put out. Whereas some of this stuff is a little bit sort of more relaxed and chilled and laid back and just us sort of having fun, really. So not that we don't have fun in the videos, but it's just a different side to us, I think.
Well, I don't have fun in the videos, but that's mainly because I'm mocked most of the time.
And we don't have fun watching your videos, so it's fine.
That's true. That's very fair. We're hopefully aiming for a weekly podcast out on your typical, podcasting platforms, including but not limited to YouTube, iTunes, whatever Android ones there are, because I don't freaking know, because I use Apple.
And I think this meta podcast of us making our podcast, it works all the way around, because if viewers have any potential suggestions or anything like that as well, they are free to, drop those in the comments.
Yeah, absolutely. So in a second, I presume we're going to talk about features and topics and stuff. So I think that's first off where we should be aiming at. This is about the people who are listening or watching. So if there's anything that people want to see, absolutely, to throw out the ideas. One question I have is the length, Jesse.
I believe
of the podcast.
Oh,
9 inches.
Damn. 9 from the floor. No, I'm aiming for about an hour to maybe an hour.
Jesus, I haven't got an hour to listen to this.
Well, luckily, because this is primarily audio only, at least at the moment, it'll be something you can listen to while doing other things.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know what? I started listening to some audiobooks recently. I used to read, but now I've passed the reading stage. One of those reasons being I think I may have thrown out my glasses. The other reason being is I can't read the big words. So I started listening to an audiobook, and now like on my lunch times from work, I go for a walk listening to an audiobook, and I realize how old I am now. But I quite like the idea of you're traveling to work and it's something to listen to.
Yeah, no, and actually
might be that you don't listen to it in one sitting. You might listen to it in the 5 sittings to and from work a week.
Yeah, and I was the last audiobook I listened to was The Martian, and it was pretty fantastic, I must say.
I did read that book, actually, and it was a great, amazing novel.
How did they describe the bit where he took a poo and then planted his potatoes in it?
Lots of swearing, lots of narration. It was pretty great.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It was like a 20-minute
was the sound effects.
No, not quite.
But to be fair, piggybacking on what Scott says, that's kind of why I wanted to host this in the first place to begin with, because
to
for
hear
the
audiobooks.
Exactly. No, for the longest time now, whether I be driving or as it is now, riding my bike to work, all I've been listening to for probably 2-3 years is podcasts. I haven't been listening to the radio much and stuff because sick of commercials, all that crap. So I listen to podcasts, and I enjoy the format a lot just because exactly what Scott said. You can pause in the middle.
Hold on. Now it's time for a message from our sponsors.
Okay.
No, it's not.
Today's podcast is brought to you by audible.com. Because I like that you can, pause in the middle and you're not really missing out on anything. It's a good way of getting your humor in without really having to put in that time crunch of sitting there for an hour straight, which is quite nice to me, to be honest, in our go style pace of the world now.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't stop, Jesse. It's, sometimes it's even just hard to breathe.
But that's because you usually have your mouth wrapped around. Well, we won't go there.
And because you're so old, your respirator's going out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because the pacemaker keeps giving up.
Yeah. And the iron lung is just, they don't make them like they
They've all died of old age. All of his.
All right. Well, I think this would be a good time right now, a natural pause in the conversation. Why don't we go to a possible feature by Scott Dog Gaming?
Wow. So I guess in this section, we'll come back to it in a bit, but I guess I've come up with several ideas. Jesse asked me to maybe sort of bring a feature each week to the podcast. So I had a bit of a brainwave. Some are good, some are not so good. I will just highlight that most of these features came about from me thinking about a name for a feature and then trying to piece the rest of it together. So, which
we all know that makes the best content, is when you name it first and then cram the content in.
So my first one, here at Saturday Morning Games, we don't like to be too political. The first one is called What Did Donald Do?
Does it have to do with Donald Duck?
This is actually more interesting than that. This is about me finding a famous Donald other than the one that you're all expecting it to
Donald
be,
Duck.
and giving them a little highlight in terms of what they actually did in their lives. So one I was talking about earlier was a mathematician who found 4,000 combinations of words from one single phrase. I like the idea of bringing some fame to some of the less famous Donalds.
The lesser Donalds.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was that
one.
Scott?
I can't remember, and it will be one of the features if we go with it. So don't try and. There's only so many Donalds out there.
There's quite a few.
That's the problem here. The next one I think you're going to like. The next one is Cannonball or Cannibal. This is where I name a celebrity, and you guys have to decide whether to eat them or fire them at a Viking horde.
What?
You heard? I really like that one.
I love the idea of you trying to write cannibal and you just mistyped it as cannonball, and that's how you got that name.
Don't want to know what I was thinking about when I came up with this name.
Gotcha.
Okay, Who Let the Dog Out is basically me having a bit of a rant on a subject.
Oh, I was hoping it was like we were going to have just a vlog of you running around in your yard for 20 minutes.
No, this is just me. So I picked like the example subject was our storm that we had over here, which was called Doris. Which just doesn't really suit any kind of dramatic event.
Yeah,
I didn't like the idea of going home and saying I got soaked by Doris.
He prefers saying he got Doris soaked.
What happens? So the way that Storm's names work is that they switch them around from male and female and through the letters of the alphabet. So what happens when we get to like when the new names are being used? Like, well, I got hit by Storm Apple the other week. It just doesn't really work. So just something like that. Me just kind of having a bit of a rant about a subject. I've got two more to do in this little section, and we'll move on. 50 Shades Greener. Now, 50 Shades Greener is where we throw out a lesser known sexual phrase.
Okay.
And Jolly has to has to describe what that phrase is. Whether she knows it or not, she takes a guess.
Yeah,
I like it.
It works. And the last one was Carla Aboot Toon.
God.
Now,
so it's like call town, but she's Canadian. I get it.
so the way this works, right, and this is genius. The way this works is Carla is Canadian, so she says a boot.
Yeah, of course,
Right.
We've all heard
Canadians
her say it
do
multiple times. Even James,
even the French ones.
James in TFG says it.
Yeah, and toon is what Geordies call town. Right now, Geordies that you don't know, they're people from Newcastle in the UK.
It's a nickname Scott gave me.
They have a very particular accent, which is like, "Why are you, man? What's going on, pet?" Right. So I thought Carla could try and do Geordie impressions of us giving her sentences.
God.
I see.
Yeah, we just give her a sentence. She has to read it out in a Geordie accent. We all laugh at her and mock her. So there you go. There's my first subsection of features. I can tell that you're particularly impressed so far.
I actually am. When you were given like an hour to write stupid stuff, I didn't.
There's only like 4 more pages of these. Don't worry about it.
I did not expect this much detail.
Well, I try.
I do like it. Thank you very much, Scott. I think
my pleasure.
Those are going to be amazing. And if any of you like one of those, don't like one of those, want to hear more, I will toss out the email address you can email or post in the comments.
Yeah, and I think if anyone has any, I love the idea of someone just throwing titles at us or phrases at us, and we have to come up with the game.
Yeah,
I like that idea. So someone just says something.
We'll write a song a week, Scott.
Yeah, something like singing in the rain, and then we have to come up with what the game would be from that. Now I can't think of one, but you know what I mean. Like Jesse in the shower doing karaoke.
Jesse has to sing a song karaoke style, but his daughter's shooting him with a hose the whole time.
Absolutely,
like aiming for the face.
Lines. Yeah.
I don't like the thought of aiming at my face. That just doesn't sound right.
Your butthole.
That might even be worse. Good Lord.
Well, we'll give it a think about.
All right, that we will.
Like the Hoover Dam.
Right. Is that the next topic? Oh.
So we're gonna be having little features here and there from Scott. I picture 1, 2 a week, something like that. They kind of cut up the topics and stuff like that. But we are gonna try and hit up other topics, and that's one of the things we had thrown out there and thought of is we want you guys to kind of come up with ideas of what you'd like to hear us talk about.
Yep.
We will obviously have our own topics, of course, because we're real men. We know what we're doing. Some of us, maybe. But so we want this podcast to be as viewer or listener, as it were, friendly as can possibly be. So if you guys want to hear anything, we would love to hear that from you.
It's time. I think this bit is going to sound a bit like an appeal, but I guess the way that Saturday Morning Gamers was founded is that we all found each other on Reddit,
on a dating app.
The kinky sex subreddit. No, we all found each other on the. We all found each other on the collab subreddit, and we all sort of came. We all sort of came together and formed Saturday Morning Gamers. And one of the things that really drove us forward was the charity live stream that we did for Special Effect, and that kind of cemented, I guess, this relationship, which is not really a word I use very often, but this relationship of all of us trying to produce content. And I like the idea that this has the potential to bring the people who maybe like what we do together as well and form a similar sort of community where they can interact with us, we can interact with them. And, we know that the content on our YouTube channel has been lacking because we've all been focusing after the stream on some of the solo stuff as well as the collabs that we have on our channels. But I think the plan is to drive that forward as well. And any interaction that comes from the viewers is great for us because it either lets us know what we're doing is good or lets us know what we're doing isn't good. But both help. So I think, the idea of bringing everybody together is what we're going for here.
I definitely agree with you 100%. And if you have any of those thoughts or those lists or anything that you'd like to get to us, the email address you can use is smgcoffeepodcast@gmail.com. That's SMGcoffeePodcast at gmail.com.
All one word?
All one word? Well, you can't do spaces in email.
Maybe people underscore.
Oh, yeah. There's no underscore. There's no nothing. We're doing it hardcore.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I've forgotten the email address. What was it?
Each other.
It was SMGcoffeePodcast at
Find anything
AOL.com. What was that?
Nothing.
Oh, all right. All right. Make it short. So, let's see. What other topics shall we get into? I know we were thinking of doing...
Do you want me to run through the next selection of potential games?
Sure. That sounds great.
Should I go with that? As I say, I did actually write these down. I put in a lot of work when I should have been doing other stuff.
I have one from what Scott just suggested a bit ago.
Okay.
We could call it something like Tales from the Table, because as you guys know, we have an ongoing Dungeons and Dragons type series going on, which is on the Saturday Morning Gaming Twitch channel every Monday. The game is called Stars Without Number. And it could be something where we either focus on a particular moment that happened, such as something ridiculous Scott did, or what? You know, you do all kinds of fun, ridiculous stuff, Scott.
I try. And then we play D&D.
Yeah. No, so something like that, maybe.
Well, I like the idea of that being brought to you by the GM of that game.
A
certain Jordan from True Friends Gaming.
Hey.
Yeah. So, hey, Jordan, why don't you take us through that?
Okay, I'll give a perfect example then. So, one of the early things that happened actually in our very first time trying to play it, Scott's character, Jed, is a con man who is being chased by our friend Ricardo's character, Avon, who is a bounty hunter. There was a large bounty on Scott's character, and the planet they were on was also being attacked by robots because all the chaos has to happen at once. Regardless, Jed was going out of his way to get Avon caught by the robot so he could escape, but still kept saving him to the point of basically pulling him into an alleyway, basically kissing him, and then shooting a robot behind him.
I'm pretty hardcore.
He's pretty hardcore.
I'm pretty hardcore. I still think that's the only person I managed to kill, but you know, it was pretty epic. And I guess we should just plug it while we're here. If people wanted to see this amazing action unfold, where would they go?
They would go to the Saturday Morning Gaming Twitch, which I've already said. It'll be there every Monday live at 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern time, whatever time Scott's time.
7 p.m.
There you go.
In the greatest monthly time.
Monthly, huh?
Whoa.
Greenwich Mean Time. Greenwich Mean Time.
Oh.
Global.
No, Greenwich.
And then after
global,
that, the footage will eventually go up on YouTube.
The
So
question
if you
becomes,
can't make it, you'll still see it.
How mean is Greenwich, really?
Pretty. The mean streets of Greenwich, yeah.
You've probably seen the movie. The whole song
You know
says, "You're
what?
a mean one, Mr. Greenwich."
In fact, I think possibly like a wrestler in the WWE and from the old days was English or meant to be English and came from the mean streets of Greenwich. Now, I want to say the British Bulldog, but I'm not sure that's true.
Well, I know. I remember from watching back in my day when I was a little wee lad of 12 or 13. One of the wrestlers, I want to say, it might have been Shane McMahon or it could have been Triple H, something like that. One of his big things was being from the mean streets of Greenwich, Connecticut.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm getting confused with. Yeah,
it could be. For those from America, Greenwich, Connecticut is probably one of the higher and richer areas of America.
Yeah, because he used to be in the Mean Street Posse. Anyway, different podcast, that one.
Yep. That.
Welcome back to the WWE podcast for all of your wrestling fan needs. Oh.
Hey,
if you want to catch Jesse and my wrestling podcast In the Ring. Also, that was the other podcast. No, let's move on.
That will also be hosted on Pornhub because, as well as
our other wrestling podcast, Off the Turntables.
Oh God! Right.
Good Lord.
Features. Second set of features. It gets better. Okay, so the first one's a bit of a weak one. Across the Pond.
Okay.
So this came from Jesse yesterday. Yes. Jesse suggested that he thought all British people had a 3 o'clock tea break for a couple of hours.
I did. I grew up thinking that for some reason.
So I thought this could be like a stereotypes versus the things British people say against the things American people say, where the translation gets lost a little bit.
Yeah.
So the aluminium discussion, all that sort of stuff. As I say, it started weak, but it gets better. Austrian or Nostrian? This is where I say a name, or we get GP to pre-record a name, and people who are listening have to decide whether that person is indeed an Austrian or is a Nostrian and we made him up.
I like that.
I also think it'd be a good idea to have something kind of like that. It might not work as well internationally, but have him say a word in German and see if we can tell if it's a real German word or not. Kind of like
German
his word
or Smurman.
Kind of like his word for torch.
Oh yeah, fuckle.
Yeah, exactly.
Something like that.
I'm still convinced that's not real.
I think he made it up. Right. Do you remember the time? I start going down the song route. Do you remember the time? This is I throw out one subject, and the SMGs have to tell us about their first time.
Ooh, jeez.
So I was on my couch
with somebody else.
Oh,
damn.
So
True
friend. So all the TFG guys were on one couch.
You're gonna like this one. True friends. I ask all of the True Friends gaming questions about each other, and then find out if they give the same answers.
Oh, nice.
So
we'll do the thing where we hold up the whiteboard and find out if we're all.
So we find out if they are actually true friends.
We're not. Spoiler alert.
Next one's a bit of a visual one, so I don't really know how it's going to work. But quick on the draw.
Ooh.
I give Carla and Ricardo, who are our two eyes.
I like it.
I think that's safe to say. 5 minutes to draw one piece of artwork, and then the viewers vote on which one is the best.
I like that.
That's a good one.
I don't really know how it works in a podcast, but I like the idea.
Well, because we'll have the artwork go up at the end.
We'll have it, and then viewers can vote by the next podcast.
You'll like that. You'll like the next one, not because it's a two-parter. What comes next? This is where you fill in the missing words from a song, a famous song, like a really famous song, but the first sentence of that song is really well known, and then the second one tails away. You know, the kind where you go, Tommy used to work on the dock, right?
Yep.
He's down on his luck. You know, those ones where they, you know the first bit really well, and then the second bit you've got no idea what it is. Because that follows into who comes next, which is where we all watch a video of a bukkake and pause it. Yes.
I vote number 4. Wait, I mean,
and people have to guess, obviously, the name of the game. That was the next section of features.
Wow. I like it. Can we just do away with the podcast and just have nothing but these features except for the bukkake one? Oh, I know. We'll do the bukkake one, but instead of watching other people, it'll be the SMG people doing a bukkake.
God.
And the viewers have to guess who comes next.
There we go. Again, this SMG podcast can be found on redtube.com, Pornhub.com.
You can also find out all of Jesse's favorite porn sites by the list he follows.
Just to split this up, because I've got an even amount kind of left. So one more.
Okay.
Worse, stroke worst, because I couldn't really figure out what the actual correct word was. And this is where two similar scenarios are thrown out, and people have to decide which one is worse. So the example I've got is you're at a funeral and your phone goes off.
Okay.
Or you're at a funeral and you fart.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you're at a wedding and your phone goes off.
No. So you know, which one is worse? Is it that people know that you're disrespectful and your phone is going off, or that you can't hold your bodily gases?
Ooh.
It's a tough one.
I think the phone would be worse.
I don't know.
A fart, you could be like, okay, the guy, he fart. If you have a phone on, it's like, why didn't you turn that off?
I mean, I almost have to go with the fart, only because it goes. It attacks people on multiple senses, where the phone is just,
Here's the issue. I always forget about that. I forget that smell is a thing.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Smell is definitely a thing.
I can't smell.
Jordan can't smell. For people who
I don't have the ability.
So I actually, however,
completely forget about that as a possibility.
Just to throw in a red herring. What if your phone goes off and your ringtone is a fart noise.
Whoa.
I know.
Yeah, but see the.
I guess it's not as bad if it
that-
doesn't smell.
Exactly, it doesn't smell.
So yeah, that's what's worst because I still don't know what's the right word.
What's worse?
What's worse?
What's worse sounds like it would be about like German meat.
I was gonna say, unless you spell it.
I did think about
worst?
I did think about putting what's bratwurst and letting GP come up with a feature. GP just has to describe German sausages and gives us a multiple choice. We have to choose which one it is.
You know, I kind of do like the idea of having something like that where I mentioned the music thing earlier, where we're given a subject and then we have to make like a very quick song about it.
Yeah. I do like those ideas.
Yeah. Call it like, oh, note you didn't.
I mean, it goes a bit awry at this stage, so just bear that in mind.
Yeah.
But let's go back to our planning. You know, we'll let these linger for a bit. So far, just before we move on, has anyone said no to any of these games?
No, well, except maybe the Bukkake.
Even the Bukkake? Okay, right. I'll cross that one out now.
Oh no, I meant like extremely yes to that one. I want a whole show.
Right.
Okay, I'll cross the rest out now.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect.
No, so far they all sound good. Let's go to the viewers. Viewers, what do you think?
We're gonna wait for their response.
Jesus. But you know that podcast we said was going to be about an hour? It's actually 17 years.
Yeah. We might get our first viewer by then.
Doubtful.
That's fair.
Right. So I guess one of the things, sorry, Jesse, to steal from your hosting duties, I guess topics is quite key at this moment in time. I know we touched on topics and said, you know, we're going to come up with some.
We touched on more than just topics, but
yeah, we did. But we want it to be, we want it to be, to me, a podcast. It could cover some serious things, but I think it needs to do it in the right manner. You know, it should be about entertainment and making people giggle on the way to a boring job or to, you know, a funeral, which they're going to fart at. I think it just should be about just, you know, having a bit of fun. So I think the topics are quite important. And I think we all know that they need to be at least veiled in some kind of gaming scenario or situation, because that's why we're all here.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm sure we'll still mention other things like, you know, movies and things like that from time to time, but primarily,
what is a movie? No.
Yeah, it's like that thing where you're that truck comes and takes your furniture to a new house.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, getting kicked out.
Yeah, been there.
I believe it.
Oh,
thanks, man.
No, I meant that the movers had to come around your house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kicked Jesse out
from the basement.
Yeah.
Into the back door. All right. Anyway.
Jeez.
So, why did you have a topic in mind, sir, that you would like to touch on currently?
How about pre-ordering? No.
Do it.
So a bit of an in-joke is that every time we have any kind of discussion, I always bring it back to the positives and mostly negatives of pre-ordering games. Please don't do it. Don't do it ever. Never ever do it. Early access is slightly different.
I pre-ordered Halo Wars too.
You're an idiot. So no, I not off the top of my head, but I think I like the idea of it sort of also being around what we've done, what we haven't done, what we want to do, what we're looking forward to.
Yeah.
But not too, you know, the problem is with these podcasts is sometimes you can get into the routine of what have you been doing this week?
Yes.
Then I say I've been playing the same games as I've been playing.
That's why I think those are usually things that are better to end on.
Yeah. So I think, you know, is there any grand plans coming out? You know, what are you working on? Not a grand plan of coming out, unless that's what you're doing.
Wow.
But you know, just the odd sort of scenario. Like I like the idea that this podcast starts with a topic and then ends somewhere completely different that no one expected to end. You know, just sort of that conversation has evolved to a point of being a farce and be talking about like the most embarrassing moments, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know, so it transcends from one topic, which is over here. You can't see what I'm doing, but over to the left and like over to the right is something completely unrelated, and somehow it manages to get there just through the usual conversations that we have. But it has to start with something. So I think, you know, something light, airy, easy, just straightforward is the way to go about it. what they are. I think we need to just sort of go through the gaming news. I quite like the idea of gaming shows, that sort of stuff, new games, new mechanics in games, that sort of stuff. Just something that's sort of quite easy, and then we can link it to stuff that is our own experience, because that's what these things are about, is communicating where we've been, what we've seen, and what we've done.
It definitely is. So, what I did have an idea for a topic, and I think we'd be remiss in our duties if we don't at least touch some sort of topic tonight, other than the planning and the stuff like that. So, one thing I wanted to touch on besides Jordan's lap is, here in America, it's tax time, and I work in a major chain, I would say, that sells a lot of items, and the past couple days people have gotten their money and are coming in and buying 2, 3, 4 TVs at a time, things like that. And so I thought a good topic would be, if you guys had an extra couple grand in your pocket right this second to just blow on anything, how would you spend your
Do we have
money?
to use it, or can I save it?
I mean, saving it's the responsible way, but I think for this topic, you got to spend.
Can I just point out, I like the idea that I say I want a light, airy, breezy, funny podcast, and then Jordan's like, "No, I'm going to save that money. I'm going to change.
I'm going to put it into a Roth IRA with a 2.5%.
I'm going to put it into my bank, and I'm going to start building interest."
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, that's what I did too.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a question. If people are coming in buying that many TVs, why are you not making the wall out of TVs?
Yeah.
Because then you could also sell advertising space.
We do have walls of TVs, and they are on a constant loop of advertisement for.
I mean, covering a certain border, for example.
That's a good idea.
I know. I'm full of good ideas today, and these ideas that I keep coming out with. But
you're full of.
If it was me and I had that money, I would. I don't know. I think I'd probably end up spending it on something completely pointless, like the Nintendo Switch, which you shouldn't pre-order.
Yeah. And to be fair, or for the record, we actually at my store got in the Nintendo Switch already. I mean, you can't buy it or anything, but it's weird that they sent it a month early.
Well, I guess they're shipping out. Is it a global? I guess it's a global release. Rather than,
I think so.
I know
it's probably one of those things where it's like global release, but Japan gets it 2 days early or something.
Yeah, normally they used to do that a lot, didn't they? I wonder if it's changed.
Well, back in the day, they used to, I remember N64 came out like a month or two earlier in Japan.
Yeah, absolutely. It used to be a long time.
Yeah,
but
I remember.
I just wondered, and a bit like the Xbox, I guess, over here, where it doesn't make it to Japan for a number of years, pretty much, and when it does, no one buys it. But yeah, I think I'm addicted to gadgets and technology, and I'd end up buying stuff that don't really make any difference. I use once or twice and then never use again.
His dildo collection.
No, like my Vive, for example. That was Vive and not Vibe.
Oh, damn.
I've got it at the moment. There isn't anything that really blows me away on it, so I don't really use it.
Sounds like you haven't downloaded the right porn games.
Yeah, absolutely. Say hi to him anyway.
Saturday Morning Gamers, the game, the visual novel.
Actually, just on this subject, and this is not a plug of my channel, but one of the things I've been toying with is a new feature on my channel called Free Game Friday.
Oh,
wow, Scott Dog Gaming, tell me more about it.
Well, it's going to be me playing a free game on a Friday.
Okay, Scott Dog Gaming.
Thanks, Jordan from True Friend. No, let's not carry on that. No. But no, just I find some free games and I just tell people where to get them if they want to take a look at it. And generally, these games will be in development. And I thought we could sort of transcend that over to this, because it will be around what have we found that other gamers who are listening to this haven't necessarily seen yet. Like Jordan and Halo Wars 2, people might be thinking about buying that game, and something you say in this might either convince them to or not. So, I like the idea of it, yes, being fun, but at the same time, might just be useful to one or two people if they're trying to make decisions. We are still talking about games.
To give my honest opinion, I've been loving the crap out of Halo Wars 2. I'm actually really psyched to play more of it.
Yeah, I have
don't
too.
Buy it. Jordan's really biased, so don't buy it.
I am ungodly biased.
If you didn't pre-order, well done you.
That was the well, I already had obligations to, record that day one, so that's why I had to pre-order it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'll be completely honest with you, even if I wasn't, I would have pre-ordered
it. Speaking of Jordan, we should play some tonight. Anyway,
I'm doing the campaign more later.
Oh, gotcha. Fair enough. Then I'll play Blitz by myself and say screw you.
He doesn't like you is essentially what he's saying.
Oh, I told him that already too.
We knew that.
In fact, now isn't probably the right time to say it on the podcast, but you're out of here, Jesse.
Damn it. So yeah, no, I really
attacked.
like that idea of at least having one little, section of the podcast be someone selling us on a game, or even dissuading us on a game. Maybe they tried out and they had high hopes for that didn't pan out and they didn't feel it was the best. I think at least one of us each week should touch on a game after touching on each other.
I think it'd be cool if we could find a game that if one of us liked and another one didn't.
Yeah,
call it like pros and cons.
Yeah. Well, funny you should mention that, right? Because
Final Fantasy 15.
Funny you should mention that, because I guess now we're coming towards a wrap up of this. Now might be a good time to go through the rest of the features.
Okay.
Because weirdly, some of them tie into what you were just saying.
Is it called pros and cons?
Oh no.
No, it's better than that. This one is genius. This one is not so genius, but you can kind of see where my mind was going after the music thing. King of the Swingers.
Oh God.
This is with you in mind, Jesse. I choose a username off a swinging site and the actual name of a swing singer, and you have to guess which is which.
Holy crap, that's genius.
It really is.
The whole wordplay
Scott,
is fantastic.
What is these swinger sites that you're talking about?
I haven't looked at any yet. I thought I might be able to borrow your account.
Yeah, so Jesse has a few of them, so he needs to know if there's any new ones.
Yeah, right.
He's got the app.
He'll probably know. He's already got all the usernames. He's messaged all of them.
Like, there's one on here called Player 2 Insert Coin.
Insert something.
Insert, exactly.
He's got the app Adult Swing Set. Oh.
The next one is genius until it comes to the actual idea. The name is great.
Okay.
The name is Up, Up, Down, Down.
Nice.
And I throw out two celebrities, and you have to tell me which one of them has a sex tape.
Oh. I was trying to say, then you have to say which one you go high with, and the other one which one you go down on.
So I decided that maybe wasn't the right way to go with that feature.
Okay.
So I came up with the idea of SMG is, say, 2 games, 1 game each, and people have to decide which is better and which is worse.
I like it.
Through the arguments put forward by the SMGs.
Okay.
I like it a lot.
Next one, continuing the same theme, does size matter?
From what I've heard, no, but...
Okay, well, oh dear. This is a feature
Jesse,
where...
the micro penis is fine. Don't worry about it.
Isn't that adorable?
This is a feature where we talk about, we do a competition of the US versus Luxembourg. Luxembourg being, I believe, the smallest country in Europe. And the US being, well, the US, where everything is bigger.
Because it's us. US.
Next one, it changes tone again. Next one is Countdown to the Apocalypse.
Okay.
Now, you might think this is political as well, but it's not. I show you a picture. I give you a celebrity name. This is the idea went awry here.
And
I give you a celebrity name. No. And you have to Google that image to have a look at their bodged lip surgery.
Oh, God.
What?
Countdown to the Apocalypse.
I got that, but
the apocalypse.
I get the joke, I get the pun, but the play on words. But why are we?
I thought it was an interactive thing. I thought the viewers at home could also join in.
Google it.
That was more what I was curious. How do we make a video? Like, what do we do with that? Like, do we just
just say a name and you what happens is I say the name, you lot go and Google it, and then you all react to it, and the people at home can do the same thing after hearing your reaction.
Do you have an example?
Leslie Ash.
All right, heading to Google right now. How would I spell that?
Let me just Google it as well. Hold on.
Just come on, guys.
LESLIEASH.
Ah.
Oh my God. For those of you who aren't playing at home. That
you're not supposed to tell them. They're meant to go and Google.
Well, I'm saying it looks like two Vienna sausages taped on top of each other.
Ruining the whole game.
Well, I thought we were supposed to react. That's how I reacted.
So I'm sensing the countdown to the apocalypse.
I prefer the before
great.
than after.
I think most people would.
I mean, to be fair, even the before was a little scary. She's got a very wide mouth.
And really big lips.
Yes.
Anyway, countdown. I'm gonna put a question mark next to countdown to the apocalypse.
And her eyebrows go onto her nose.
Okay, let's stop attacking Leslie Ash. She was in one of the greatest programs ever made, Men Behaving Badly.
No, but the mustache, her mustache, what is a mustache? Her eyebrows literally go onto her nose, the bridge of her nose.
All right. Okay, I need it.
I've got poopy eyebrows.
Okay, we get it. Jesus. I need a hero.
Yeah.
This is where I throw out an everyday life situation, like going to the laundrette. And you guys have to pick a superhero and tell me why they would be best to do that task.
I like it. For that one, I would say Superman. Because he could, do everything super fast for us and be done in like 5 seconds.
I say Flash because it sounds like a detergent.
Touche.
Okay, the last one is back to where we started. I went full circle. Obviously, with the first one being called "What Did Donald Do?" This one is called Top Trumps.
Okay.
And this is where I give out two descriptions, like a baby seal or a Labrador, and you have to tell me which one is more like Donald Trump's hair.
A Labrador. I can see it.
Okay, so the last one was actually a sort of a side note, which is called DLC.
And but you guys have to pay extra to listen to that.
Yeah, I thought we could take all the bits that were a bit too much to put in the normal podcast. We could do like an evening edition, a blue version of the podcast.
Like it, I do. So
Jordan
a secondary
seems to have died.
He did apparently. Jordan, you still with us? All right. It appears his internet has gone out.
I can only assume that he's so impressed by my ideas
that he fainted.
Yeah, absolutely. That he's thought, you know what? Scott is wasted here.
He got the vapors. Oh, and there he goes.
Oh, bye then.
Well, that happens.
Yeah.
Well, I think this was a very productive podcast session. I do like a lot of these ideas. Again, if any of you enjoyed or didn't enjoy or want to sound off on any of those topics or anything for that matter, don't forget to email SMGcoffeePodcast@gmail.com. That's going to be the official podcast email address. And I had my own idea for a little feature that we are going to be doing to end out the week every week, and that is going to be called Ask an SMG. And basically, this is going to be user-submitted content. We want questions from you guys, not necessarily, and actually, I would prefer it if it's outside of the gaming and YouTubing realm, more life lessons style questions, more things like that. And I know Jordan has gone offline, unfortunately, but Scott, I think we could do this one, especially because this one I found on a beautiful site called Yahoo Answers. If any of you aren't familiar with it, it's pretty much where teens go to ask and answer the dumbest questions on Earth and give the dumbest answers on Earth. And Scott, actually, this one kind of seems to be a little bit geared toward you, so I figured why not hit it hard?
Okay, quick disclaimer. Do not take my advice.
To be fair, do not take any advice. Seriously. Although, Scott, this one, they may want to take your advice on. The question of the day this week is it important for my pet dog to have sex? Now they add a little bit about it afterwards. So forgive my knowledge of pets in limited. Anyway, we just got a family pet female dog for the kids, and I was wondering if she needs male companionship. And do dogs need to have sex regularly, or will she be fine alone? Yeah, so I'm a little shocked. First off, that the question, she mentioned that she got the dog for her kids, so that's actually a question from an adult, which kind of threw me for a loop. But Scott, how do you feel about this?
You know what, Jesse? I think it's a valid question. First off, will she be fine alone? Well, we've got paws.
Right.
So that rules out some stuff. Secondly, we've got our own style named after us.
That's true.
So I would suggest that absolutely yes.
Yeah, I'm with you too, to be honest. I feel, well, before I get into mine, why don't we get into Jordan's? Jordan, welcome back.
Thanks, buddy. I was just testing out our newest game, Crazy Random Happenstance. Did my computer blue screen because of previous issues, or was it a crazy random happenstance?
That was the previous.
Probably.
Next game.
Yes. Anyway, no.
I guess I missed a couple.
What you missed is we kind of closed up. We're finishing up, and I was telling the people how I want to be closing on a question of the week and ask an SMG each week, and you did miss the question, so we'll ask you directly. Scott gave his answer, and I'll hold off until mine. But here's the question of the week for this week. Is it important for my pet dog to have sex?
Your pet dog?
And it's from an older female, and she just got her first dog ever for her kids, and she's wondering if the dog needs to have sex regularly, and how that would affect the pet and all that. So, Jordan?
Well,
there you go. There's your answer.
Well, thank you for the question. We really appreciate your types of questions here at SMG. So yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. See, the question you really need to ask yourself is, should you get your dog neutered? Now, if you get the dog neutered, you don't really have to worry about it having sex as much. However, it might still have some weird prolonged sex drive where it tries to hump stuff, which doesn't really make sense. However, if you don't neuter it, and you don't mind puppies, then yeah, I would probably advise letting your dog have sex unless you want it to hump everything that you own.
I mean, another option, just to throw out there, is a stuffed toy.
That's true.
Which you can let your dog have sex with.
Although, for the record, this was
and it will be a stuffed toy.
But for the record, this was a female dog. So unless the stuffed toy has a appendage,
you just grind on it, man.
That's true. That's very true. But
what she should do as a responsible dog owner, she should put on some R. Kelly, leave the house for an hour or two, light some candles, light the fire maybe.
Come back and the house burned down. Dog knocked over the candles.
Dog on fire. Anyway, there you go. That's
so
the kind
of question you need to ask yourself is, do you want to get your dog spayed? And the answer, probably.
Yeah, that's probably best. Yeah, so I think we
need to answer, Jesse.
Oh, my apologies. Well, I don't know why I didn't. I think you two covered a lot of the issues that I wanted to cover as far as that question goes, but I do feel that dog lives matter as well. And for those pet owners that don't allow their pets to have sex on a regular basis, I think they're kind of stunting their emotional growth and their psyche in general. I mean, everyone needs that release on a fairly regular basis.
That's why I'm like this, Jesse.
Yeah,
exactly.
At least 9 times a day.
And I mean, that's a bare minimum.
For every inch.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a bare minimum. But yeah, I
you
feel
can use a bear, sure.
Yeah, well, bear, trees,
Fire hydrant.
beehives, whatever
Beehive.
whatever gets you there. So, folks, I do believe that has been the Saturday morning podcast. Again, if you would like to sound off on anything, tell us how shitty we are, how amazing we are, or just tell me how you don't want Jordan on the podcast ever again because his voice is annoying. The email address is smgcoffeepodcast@gmail.com.
And just for the record, all of
something
these,
in the comments below.
And all of these ideas are copyrighted, so don't try and steal them.
Yeah, Scott has gone through the proper channels.
Yeah, I mean, it took me 20 minutes because I phoned up the patent office and they just giggled at me quite a lot. But
then they took his $200 and it was done.
For every idea is $200.
Yeah,
that $2,000 that I got from my tax.
That's where he decided to spend his. Oh yeah, we never answered that question, did we?
I did.
Scott did. So that's
I'd buy a bunch of pairs of shoes so I can get rid of the shoes and use the boxes to build a fort.
There you can see. Nice. That's amazing.
And then live happily ever after with Leslie Ash.
It really is the dream.
I think piggybacking on that, I would get a $2,000 worth of collagen injections into my lips so that I can make it onto Scott's game.
You get it in your neck and look like you had gills.
Ooh.
Be kind of cool.
They wouldn't be working though, so I'd be.
What if you got them in your biceps?
There you go. Then it would actually look like I, worked
Did
out.
Anything.
Yeah, exactly.
I am amazed for the job that you do. How skinny your arms are. Do they have you like stacking the pillows?
Pillows, comforters, very small objects. I
carries the marshmallows.
Exactly.
Jesse looks like freaking Mr. Meeseeks.
Although to be fair, they don't let me carry the packages of marshmallows. I have to stack them one at a time.
Yeah,
he has to open the bags.
Yeah,
he has to open the bags, take the marshmallows one at a time, put them back in, and seal the bag up.
Isn't that how everyone does it?
Something like that.
Well, I'd like to thank my two guests today, Jordan.
Thanks for having me, Jesse.
Scott.
Thank you very much.
And to all the listeners out there, thank you for listening. All one of you. We appreciate it.
You're welcome,
that one was me, by the way.
Oh, okay, I was making it joke. Okay.
I wanted to see how good I sound.
That's I mean, you sounded pretty good. You've got the sexy, sultry dog voice.
Well, absolutely. And just for any marketing people that might be listening to this, I am available on freelance work for these ideas. So just give me a shout.
See him on Fiverr.com.
But 5 inches or more. Oh.
Again,
that's my swinging username.
Yeah.
Oh God. Well, thanks, guys. Hopefully you come back next week and the week after and the week after, and
hopefully next week you'll see some of this stuff that you listened to this week in practice.
Or all of it.
If you want to see some of this stuff, please drop us a line. We thrive off of your comments, concern. That's what we eat. That's why I'm so skinny. So yeah.
Any other cool suggestions as well? Feel free to leave them.
Definitely. And we need your questions of the week. So don't forget to ask an SMG. Once again, I've been Jesse, and thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next time.
Later, guys.
Bye.